Hey folks, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestryslands.com. Been a while since I did a car video, and 2025. You know, one of the things I'm dealing with right now as a father, as a parent, advocating for your kid. There are parents who think their kids are better than what they are. And when I say that, I'm talking about educationally. Even we could go athletically. I'm actually right at my son's school today. I had to just drop off shoes to him because we did laundry, washed his shoes, which is something I encourage parents to do. At the end of the week, you should wash your kids' shoes because the kids' shoes build up odor. I'd rather pay for more shoes frequently than to have the kids develop stinky feet. Hygiene needs to be more than just about cleaning and washing yourself. It's keeping up and maintaining freshness even in the clothes that you wear down to your feet. So I had a parent-teacher conference meeting for my daughter who's in what's called Gifted and Talented program. And, you know, they have a Gifted Educational Interventional Program, or GIEP, or GEIP, whatever. And part of the problems that I'm having is that my daughter is so gifted. When I say gifted, is that she has very good math scores to the point where most parents in my situation would say, oh, I'm glad my child is doing good. They're making A's and that's good. But as a parent, every year I've seen her scores, including her national scholastic scores, them be always in the 90 percentile. And I had to go and ask the school, every time we meet, you talk about the social, her around friends, maturity because she skipped a grade. And a lot of people may not understand where I'm coming from because you would have to watch my older videos or even be probably closer to me, like in my family or friend circle, to kind of know what I'm talking about. But when your child scores well and they've got the results to show that they should be moving along or should be rewarded in some way or challenged in some way, you as a parent have to advocate for that. The school in these parent-teacher conference meetings, they're looking to just get it done and get it out of the way. I was in an hour-long meeting talking to the school about pushing my daughter to face adversity in school that is beyond the social paradigm. And a lot of the 20 minutes of the meeting was just fucking wasted on her skipping a grade, her being young, and she's going to be around kids that are more mature. And I keep telling them, she's already going to graduate at 16. My daughter and son are going to graduate at 16 as opposed to 17 turning 18 when they graduate. When you're 14 years old, you go to high school. You're around kids who can drive, kids who are having intercourse, kids who are engaging in illicit street activities. You are already a freshly out of middle school in high school dealing with pre-adult interactions. You're already going to be dealing with kids who are even somewhat more advanced than a true 18-year-old. And then when you go to college, you're going to be faced with, you're 18, just getting out of mom and dad's house, and you're dealing with kids who have probably been living on their own for the last 4 years. Way deeper into the adult world, their journey into adulthood has already been years in the making of starting and fully developing into the people who they're going to eventually become. So when you use that framework for a 10-year-old and you keep on marching that out, trying to protect them against something that is going to be an eventuality, you're hurting the child. And I'm telling the school, my daughter is with you, my children are with you 8 hours out of the day. So you have a responsibility and onus to prepare them for the system that they're going to transfer into in life. When they get out of the academic system, they're going to be in the life system. Now, you can't have a student that gets all A's and the first time they're challenged is when they're in the adult world facing the challenges of life, and expect them to succeed when they've never met a challenge in academia other than being in peer groups. That can't be the only thing that you focus on. But too much time is wasted on the maturity. That's the parent's job. And I had to tell them that. That's my job. That's the mother's job. That's her parent's job. It's not your job to worry about her level of maturity when that is something that we as parents have to facilitate. It is something you can highlight, but it is not something you need to make a focal point to me on about my own child. You've got to talk to the students, the teachers about that. That's your student, not your child. That's my child. If I want her to watch, fornication or something like that, that'll be what I decide. But again, their friend groups will be exposing them to things even outside of mine. My daughter's singing, what was she saying? She was singing one song. I'm like, where the hell you see that song from? Probably from one of her friends. A kind of a song that's just a little bit above. I'm like, where you get that song from? It's an appropriate song. I forget what the song is she's singing. But my whole point in saying that is that you can't let the teachers dictate when your child is exceeding in life. Your child needs to face challenges. Even I, as a business owner, I face challenges with the real estate market and things like that. The only way for me to survive, to be a channel that has 100,000 subscribers and keeps on growing, is to be able to overcome adversity. If you cannot overcome adversity, you will end up failing and be crushed by the fact that you've never practiced achieving. You've just achieved. That's the difference between a person who has God-given talent and a person who has to work for it naturally. Kobe Bryant was noticed for spending hours and hours in the gym, practicing until he became perfect at his craft. He didn't do it because, he was a person like LeBron who was naturally gifted with the body and his maturity. That was already a God-given talent to him. Not taking anything away from LeBron, but I'm just saying that the Mamba mentality was different from a person who had natural greatness in the form of physicality like LeBron. Even with Jordan. But I say this because, again, in my life, I just wanted to talk to people out there that you have to face adversity. You have to show your kids that you're facing adversity, and the kids need to experience adversity themselves. You cannot just, everything's got to be 100. And they told me, they said, man, I'm so glad, Mr. Davis, that you are a parent that I had to tell them. My daughter and my son, every year on these national tests, they're like 99, 90. Like, there's very little room of where they are compared to everyone else. They're always like less than 10% is on average who's better than them. Less than 10%. And I told him, I said, it sounds like a sin, but I'm tired of seeing my daughter get A's. I'm tired of seeing my daughter excel. She needs to fail. When I say fail, I'm talking about she in her 8th grade math class, even though she's in 6th grade, she's taking pre-algebra, and she was getting like an 84 or 81 or something like that. And I'm like, well, we met with the teacher. She said, well, she could come to my class on recess and get extra help. I said, well, she'll be there tomorrow. Because I told her, you could play after school, you could play on the weekends, you could play in class, but you need to get extra work. Well, now she's up to a 91 this last marking period. And I'm like, okay, but every time she does the same work that another student in her class could do, and she ends up achieving. So she didn't just become an 81 to a 85. She went from an 81 to a 91. So obviously she can excel if she puts a little bit more effort into it, but you have yet to give her a challenge. And the school gives you this bullshit, it would just do this, and we'll give her this little extra enrichment. And basically what all end up happening is they got to go back to the drawing board. The assistant principal got in there, and I told him, I said, man, you all have not come up with a way to challenge my daughter. Her scores are in the 90-something% nationally. So that's great until she meets with the 10% of people that are above the 90, and she's got to compete with them. So when I tell you all about, what you got to do, and I give out this advice, I'm telling you, I'm dealing with it with my children, trying to make sure that they can perform against the top 10% where they are. It's great. You know what this teacher told me? The person that's meeting and she's supposed to run it, she said, well, she made advance by 1 point. I'm looking at her, was like, motherfucker, I don't care if she made it by half a point. Why does that matter? That's the issue with, you got to watch with these teachers teachers and stuff that they say. She said she made advancement in one of the areas of national scoring, that she was advanced by 1 point. And that's the stuff that I tell my wife all the time. You got to watch with these educators, man, because they do stuff like that. Okay, if she made it by 2 points, who the hell cares? If she missed it by 1 point, you'll be saying something else. She made it by 1 point. If she made advanced by 1 point or by 1 vote, it don't matter. If you became the president by 1 vote, who the hell cares if you became president by 1 vote? You're the president. If she got an A from a 90 to an 89, well, it's still an A. I don't give a damn if it's 1 point. And that's what I'm talking about, the diminishment of stuff. I don't like when people when she made it by 1 point. Well, the kid who didn't make it by 1 point is not advanced. She's advanced whether it's 1 point or she made it to the top. And that lets me know when you're talking to someone, they don't really have the best interest in my child at hand, because again, it wouldn't be how many points that she made it by. It would be the fact that she made it. Who cares if she made it by 1 point, half a point, 2 points, 5 points, 6 points? But that's the part that angers me. And it's not because I'm a black man. It's because the fact that, again, when you see exceptionality, you got to get your bias out of the way. You got to get, I didn't skip. I wasn't a better student than my kids are. But it ain't about me. It's not about my glory. It's about making sure they have the best for them. And as a father, it is my job, my duty to make sure that I'm fighting for my kids, not fighting aggressively. And I had to tell the teachers that, hey, I appreciate the support, you guys. I'm not your enemy. You're not mine. But at the same time, I don't think you're giving me the best that you can. Don't teeter me along. And now I've got to deal with this problem of a daughter who can't succeed in life because she never faced adversity and overcame difficulties. You want her to be positive about things, but you're not raising her for life. And that's the problem. The school is there to get them through the grade, not help them prepare for life. That's the thing I'm learning about this school system. And it don't matter if you're in my district, which is one of the better districts in the country, or you're in the worst district of the country, they still operate the same way. Their only designation is get them through year to year to year. They don't give a damn about how they perform in life. They're going to be debt-ridden, mortgage-laden. They're going to have bad relationships because they're not really working on any of the foundational stuff, but they keep telling me they're concerned about maturity and this, and that. What a bunch of bullshit, man. Any which way. What I did do is got resolved. And it also further lets my wife know that the man she's chosen is the kind of man that will go to bat for his family. That I'm not only my kid's critic, their challenge, their thing to overcome, their advocate, their adversary at certain times, but I'm in their corner. When I say I'm in their corner, I'm not talking about it. I'm being about it. You got to advocate for your kids, man. And you got to go to those meetings and you got to pay attention. They were like, oh, do you want to talk about it? Or do you want me to show y'all the paper? I said, pull the paperwork up, because we all looking at the same paper. Don't talk to me about it. I want you to show me, and let's look through these numbers. So I'm not going to rate and rave anymore, but I'm telling you all, you got to pay attention with your kids' schools, things like this. The teacher said, she was like, oh, she's got girlfriends in the class. I said, excuse me? What do you mean she's got girlfriends in the class? She goes and explains. I'm saying, ma'am, you talk about girls she's dating. My daughter's 10 years old. What do you mean girlfriends? I'm checking her. She's like, oh, girls who are friends. Good. Then just say they're her friends. Because if it was boys, you would say friends. Why does it need to be girlfriends? That language shit, man, I'm telling you. They try to use that stuff and it imprints on the children. Those are my girlfriends. I'm sorry. So my son has a girlfriend, a girl he's exclusively dating. You're saying girlfriend. See how it goes? That language? That matters. Now, again, I understand that women use that terminology and it's interchangeable again, but women, not a 10-year-old child. You got to check that stuff, man, because people start bringing themselves into your child and start imprinting terminology onto your children. You got to make sure you check that. Any which way, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. I'm charged, as you can see. All right, folks, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Like, share, subscribe. You know what it is. More videos to come, more educational stuff. Peace and thank you.